Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of Local to Global here on TEW IX with Castle Pro Wrestling. We are in the year 2000, we're approaching the end of the year 2000 actually, and we've had some pretty major changes. Obviously at the end of last episode we hit small size, which allowed us to get a TV deal. So we are now broadcasting on STV, which for those not aware is ITV, but for Scotland. We also get ITV, but we have STV as well. So it only broadcasts in Scotland, which is fine. We don't need it to broadcast anywhere else at the moment in time. And what we've done is we have converted Live in Edinburgh from a monthly event to a weekly TV show. So we are going to change the format of these shows up just a little bit. We do have still only 3 major events that run through the year. We have Christmas in the Gardens, which is up next, Graps on the Grass Market, and Lunatic Fringe. I am going to add at least one more show. I think quarterly could work rather than having 3 every 4 months. But I'm going to think about it. I've got a name for a show, so I'm going to try and get that made after I record this episode or while I'm waiting for the game to do its thing. But yeah, Live in Edinburgh is now just going to be a TV show, and we're going to tape 2 at a time, is my thinking, because it just makes... I would book 4 at a time, but I'm just going to book 2 because that allows me to make these like changes in between, like what I'm liking, what I'm not liking, anybody gets hurt, anybody I want to sign, and things like that. So we're going to do 2 at a time, but we're going to do 4. We're going to basically do like a block month. I think this first episode is going to be a little bit longer. I think we're going to do Live in Edinburgh. We have a look at the schedule here. So we've got Live in Edinburgh tonight, and then we've got one at the start of October, and then one in the middle of October. I think we're going to do 6 episodes in this show. Maybe. I'll see what the vibe is when we get there. But I think we're going to go to like a monthly system now, is the plan. And we'll just sort of just go through a month at a time per episode. But we've also moved it to a Wednesday from a Friday, because I don't think All-Star Wrestling usually run on a Wednesday. So that will allow us to have our maximum roster as well, which would be good, so we don't have to worry about people being unavailable. Speaking of unavailable, Steve Blackman, hello. I keep forgetting to do this recently. Would you like to move over here? We've got TV now. We have television, Steve. He does not want to move over here, so Steve Blackman is still just hanging about. But we're going to get on with the show in a second. We've also signed an announcer. We've got Dan Reed. I googled who Dan Reed was, and apparently it's the owner of Pro Wrestling Eve. So there you go. And Tyson T-Bone apparently is great at colour commentary. So this is our TV announcer lineup. It's going to be Dan Reed and Tyson T-Bone. And yeah, a brand new era for Castle Pro. We have television. We're live at the graveyard shift, so like midnight. But we're live on TV. I mean, AEW airs at like 11:15 on ITV4. So we're in the same vicinity as them, just 25 years early. Our production's all up to snuff as well. We're going to be spending quite a lot of money, but we're hopefully going to make a little bit of money back from this deal. I actually wonder, do we want to air on a Wednesday, or do we want to air it on another day? Now, we'll air it on the Wednesday. Anyway, I'm going to go finish booking the shows. I've booked episode 1. We're booking episode 2 as well. And I'll be back in just a second with the first episode. And we are not live, but we're live on STV for our TV debut as we kick off Castle Pro Wrestling's new era. Live in Edinburgh, live on television, but not live because it's taped, because we're not running this show at midnight. And hopefully I've made the change in time. I forgot to change the ticket prices for this. I had them as normal and it was saying like 150 people were going to be here. So I've changed it to very low. And hopefully that's gone through in time for this show. But we open up, the firm come down to the ring and they welcome the national TV audience to Castle Pro. They say, get used to looking at these 3 beautiful mugs up here, because they're going to dominate the TV landscape before you know it. They're soon interrupted by the Gravedigger, the Dominator, and their surprise partner in Christopher Daniels, who says that tonight they're going to show the audience an ass-kicking in a 6-man main event. It gets a 51 overall. Dan Reed has an awful gimmick, but who cares? He's a commentator. He's going to sell merch apparently though, so that's good. Don't know why. We then have our first wrestling match on television as Juventud Guerrera defeats Phil Powers in 12 minutes with the 450. Juve for 45, Phil for 34, which is alright. And we get a 42 for the segment rating. And afterwards, Juve makes a pretty big announcement for the crowd. It gets a 63, and he says it's great to be on TV, and he's so proud of the company for getting this far, especially with how much he's played a part in getting us to this stage. But he also has a very special announcement that starting next week, Castle Pro is introducing a tournament to crown the very first STV champion. And Juve says he will be in it, and he's in it to win it. Yes, we're introducing a TV title, the STV Championship. I've got AI to make a graphic for it. It's not the best, but it will do the purpose. We're basically using the AEW tactic of just name your TV title after the network. It makes sense to me. We then have a pretty poor match actually, a 30 overall, as Jorge Castano is defeated by Jody Fleisch in 10 minutes. I was hoping this was going to be better, but Fleisch was off his game. The bout dragged in the middle, which is a bit disappointing, but both of these guys are in action in the TV title tournament. And in our main event, it gets a 57. It's a fantastic match, but the firm of Doug Williams, Nigel McGuinness and Rampage Brown defeat Christopher Daniels, the Dominator and the Gravedigger, when Doug Williams pins the Dominator after a distraction from Rigor Mortis. Doug was the best guy in the match. Nigel let everybody down. But yeah, Rigor Mortis comes out, he does the smoke and mirrors thing, and he distracts the Dominator this time to allow Doug Williams and co to pick up a pretty major win. The show gets a 55, so that's a fantastic first show. And yeah, what is Rigor Mortis' plan? We'll probably find out in just a little second, because, well, we're going to do episode 2. I'm going to go book episode 2 because I've not got it done yet, because on the pre-booking you can't access your tournament, so I don't know what matches there was. So I'm going to just pause the recording and then we'll come back in episode 2. And it's time for Live in Edinburgh number 2, which obviously we'll be wearing next week. 197 people are here. Now, this is something I didn't think about when I decided to do the TV, is the attendances might mean a reduction in, or a big reduction in ticket sales. We'll have a look at the finances after the show, but we're going to get into it straight away with the firm once again in the ring. And they say that tonight's main event even, the dogs are going to war. Doug says it's a joke that Nigel and Rampage are having to face each other in the first round, but it's proof of their dominance as a company. It's proof of their dominance as the company wants at least one of them out. I cannot speak today. He advises them to shake hands, beat the piss out of each other, and may the best man win. It's a 53 rated segment. It's a good start to the show, and we go right into TV tournament action as Juventud Guerrera defeats PJ Black in the first round with the Juve driver. Juve off his game, but he's still got a 47. And yep, no surprises there. Juve advances to the next round. PJ Black puts up a decent performance but gets a 33. Up next in tournament action, Justin Starr defeats Kelt Kennedy by pinfall to advance to the next stage. The member of the Smashing Diamonds is through. Only just, and it didn't click at all, and the match was pretty rotten, but a 34 is better than the minimum we need to get of 29, so that's good. We then have our third of 4 tournament action. My God, I can't speak. Christopher Daniels defeats Darren Burridge with the Angel's Wings. It gets a 42. Daniels with a very impressive 41. And Daniels advances through to the next round of the STV title tournament as well. But up next though is the big one. This is the segment you've been waiting for here. And it gets a 50. Here we go. The Dominator and the Gravedigger come to the ring, and Dominator calls out rigor mortis. Gravedigger, looking slightly distracted, tries to tell the Dominator not to do it. The lights dim, the smoke fills the arena, and rigor mortis appears on stage. He tells them he means no harm. In fact, he likes the Dominator and what he's done for my brother, but warns the Dominator that the Gravedigger is a man you cannot trust. Do you even know who he actually is? Gravedigger grabs a mic and says enough, as rigor mortis laughs and slinks away in the darkness, but his words seem to have gotten to both the Dominator and the Gravedigger. Dominator's looking at the Gravedigger like, brother, I trust you, but do I trust you? Do I know you? You know, they've known each other for a couple of years, but do they actually know each other? Rigor mortis planting the seeds here. Cheeky little bastard with his wee mask. So I'm going to enjoy telling this story. I'm having a lot of fun with this, as you can probably tell. It's a good little side piece of the show. But in the main event, which gets a 41, which is fine, Rampage Brown gets the better of his former teammate Nigel McGuinness with the Brainbuster suplex to advance. Nigel dropped a 32. I just felt like Rampage is just outshining Nigel at the moment, so Rampage had to be the guy to advance. But that's going to do it for the second episode. It gets a 42. Not as good as last week's, but it's tournament action. Tournament action is always a little bit down compared to the rest. Financial report, we have lost a lot of money. Okay. Do you remember when we were in profit? Okay, we're gonna have to have a look at that. We're still at 35 as well, which is annoying. Have we made a mistake going on TV? That's not good. That's not good. I didn't really want to book 4 shows at once, but I feel like we might have to book 4 at once here. Or do we book weekly? Was this a bad idea? We only made like less than 100 in broadcast revenue as well. I was hoping the broadcast revenue was going to be a lot higher. Not like stupidly high, but higher than $50. Which isn't ideal. That's really, really, really not ideal. Because if we're going to lose 12 grand a month on shows, I don't think we're getting close to making that back. I don't really want to have to go back into debt again. To be fair, we did have a few workers that we didn't actually end up using because stupid boy over here didn't give everybody the night off. I gave some people the night off. We got 1,400 people watch the first episode, which, you know, yeah. Sponsorship's 5 grand, and merchandise will make some money as well. Yes, nearly 5 grand per show. Now that 5 grand per show production, that's yeah, it is okay. That's such a huge leap. Production, right? I'm going to reduce this. Oh no, God no! We're going to downgrade this back to volunteers. It's going to give us a little ding every single episode because our production levels are lower than our rivals, because we're going to have volunteers and these 4 have small. But I think we need to save that 2 grand every show. That's my bad. My bad. Why are you unhappy? Oh, whatever. Yeah. Not great. Not great, it has to be said. But for anyone wondering, for tournament action, by the way, This is the tournament. We've got the first 4 matches sorted. We've got John Ryan, Jorge Castano, Andre Baker, Roughneck, Chris Diamond, Jody Fleisch and Phil Powers versus Tex Benedict. And so far in the next round, Juventud Guerrera versus Justin Starr is confirmed. And the title, by the way, for anyone wondering, looks like this. It's got the STV logo. I've set the prestige to 0, so we can really try and build this up as a TV title. But aye, that was all of our good work undone in one fell swoop. But if we save a few grand on production, we should be okay. Maybe. We're going to the end of the month anyway, so we can see what the end of September looks like. I might come back at the end of September because we're experimenting with new formats now anyway, and see what we can do. The other option is we could do what I did in the WCW save, or I'm about to do. I don't remember if I've done it in WCW save yet, so I'll shut up. We could form a consortium alliance and try and get people to help us out, because a lot of companies make money, and if we pool our finances in together, we could try and basically just fend off. Because like, if we look at companies based in Britain in particular, right, so there's only a few of us, but All Star Wrestling have so much money, they make so much cash. And then Combat Sports, whatever, who cares. Frontier, absolutely no chance. Phoenix, though, make a lot of money. Premier make a lot of money. And obviously, if we looked at these guys before, it's insanity. I'm going to give it a go. I mean, I could join the NWA. Apparently, we're not going to do that. I'm going to create one. I'm going to call the British Wrestling Alliance. It's going to be a consortium, but we're also going to make it a trading. Is that the one that we want? Trading alliance. Yeah, we can borrow workers. So I think we're going to do a trading alliance as well. It's only going to have the British companies in it, and all sizes and all types are available. We're going to get that in, and we're going to see if anybody wants to join. So let's just location British Isles. Let's see if we can get anybody to join. Oh yes, okay, we're cheesing it. Give me all of your profits, people. Okay. Oh well. Combat Sports. You know what? Oh, okay, I was going to say come on in, but they don't want you. Frontier. Is that Mark Sloan that we had? No, we had something else. Frankie Sloan, that's who we had. Okay, they don't want to come anyway. Right, we're going to try and cheese this. We've got the British Wrestling Alliance, and we're going to try and siphon off some of the money. Because, yeah, screw it. We're cheesing the game here. I apologise if you guys think this is not great. I just want to see how it goes. We can always cancel this alliance at the end of the month. But we'll come back at the end of September, and we'll see what it all looks like. Yeah, so we I think we need to turn that off, because that's ridiculous. That's just stupid, I think. I don't think that's fair. So we're gonna... Well, I've made an absolute hell of this. Because I'm gonna have to resign. Oh no. what should we do, folks? So, by the way, 999 people watched episode 2. Broadcast revenue, we made a whole $79 on broadcast revenue. So the broadcast revenue is terrible. But I don't know. I feel like this is cheating. I really do feel like this is cheating. Like, it makes sense because obviously, like, I mean, they made more profit than they have been as well. Phoenix, you were also in it. Phoenix made the same. So, like, Phoenix are losing money. All Star made more money than usual. And who else did we put in the group? Premiere is about what they've been making. I don't know. It just feels really cheap. Like, our ticket sales are way down compared to August. And sponsorships were up quite considerably. Merchandise was lower, but much more than July. So if we look at July as a reference point, ticket sales were more than July, sponsors were more July, merchandise were more than July, but the production cost was much higher than July by nearly 10,000. We've obviously turned off the thing, we've put it back on though. Like, on the one hand, it's a part of the game. Okay, it's a part of the game that we could join a British Wrestling Alliance and do this. It just feels a bit cheap, especially with, like, finally having everything going up. We could have done this a long time ago, and we didn't. We fought through the debt and the problems. I'm going to resign. There we go. I've resigned. I can apply. Well, I can't apply for membership. I'm going to resign. I just don't think it's right. I think it's wrong to be able to do that. These three can just have fun and sort each other out. There you go. Have fun, guys. I don't like it. I'd rather make money our way. We're now comfortable, obviously, for the foreseeable future. We'll see how much damage we're going to do in 3 days' time. But, yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But we live and we learn. Apologies if any of you guys really hate this idea. I kind of feel a bit dirty for doing it, to be honest. But it is what it is. We are... There's Big Wayne, Simon Diamond still hanging about, but too much money. We are looking still to see if anybody we can bring in, but I'm happy with the roster we've got currently. I think this is a pretty good roster. Contract expiry wise, LT Summers and Roughnecks coming up shortly. I think we've got a nice little, crew on the go here. But I'm going to skip ahead a few days and I'll join you guys for Live in Edinburgh number 3 and number 4, and we'll see what the money situation looks like at that stage. Or episode 3, episode 4, episode 5, episodes. We're going to go weekly, monthly, sorry. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tape all 4 shows at the same time. That's what I'm going to do. Ticket prices are very cheap. Event prices can go normal. That makes sense to me. And I'm going to see what happens booking 4 shows. Because if I book 4 shows, I can book the entire tournament and go from there. So I'm going to go do that. Apologies, this episode's all over the place. But we're figuring things out as we go. I'm going to be back in just a second. We're going to book 4 Live in Edinburghs. And we'll see what happens. See you in a second. It's time for me to do a lot of talking over the next 10 or so, 10-15 minutes. But we are here for Live in Edinburgh episode 3, and we have 4 episodes that we're going to fly through here. So bear with me, I will obviously cut in between episodes, so like it's faster to flow through. But in the first match of the night, Phil Powers defeats Tex Benedict with the Northern Light Suplex to advance in the STV title tournament, and they don't click at all, but he got 35, so that's fine. At the end of the day, John Ryan then defeats Jorge Castano with the Ryanoku driver to win his tournament match, so he is also through in the STV title tournament. It gets a 41, which is not bad. One thing I forgot to mention before I kicked off these shows actually is I think Andre Baker's going to be leaving us soon because he asked for a $300 or so pay rise. I gave him 25%. So, yeah, that's not great. Tyson T-Bone also asked for a pay rise as well because I think he wants commentator money. But he's a good commentator, so I've given him it. Like, we should be okay largely financially. We'll find out what the damage is at the end of this series of tapings, obviously. Up next, speaking of Andre Baker, he does get a win over Roughneck, but he's completely outclassed by Roughneck, by the way. Roughneck pulling in his best performance in forever in a losing effort against Andre Baker. That's annoying. Oh well. Roughneck takes the fall. Andre Baker advances to the next round, 43 overall, and Chris Diamond and Justin Starr come straight down after Roughneck's defeat, and Diamond's like, what the hell? You need to win these matches. It needs to be one of us, me in particular, that is the new STV champion. He asks, why can't you be more like Justin? Or more like me, who's about to win his match with Jody Fleisch. It gets a 43. And in the match, Chris Diamond, this is technically our main event by the way, Chris Diamond defeats Jody Fleisch by using underhanded tactics to advance in the STV title tournament. It gets a 43 overall. And our main event segment is a promo. It's a 48, but the Dominator calls out the Gravedigger for a chat. Dominator asks what Rigor Mortis meant by not being able to trust him or know who he is. Gravedigger says, ignore him. He's always been like that. And Dominator asks, well, why have you never brought him up before? And Gravedigger simply says, before walking away, because I thought he was dead. Dun, dun, dun. It gets a 42 overall. I'm fine with that. I'm happy enough with that show. And we're just going to get straight into booking episode number 2. So back in just a second. And episode 2 will kick off with Rampage Brown defeating Andre Baker with the Brainbuster suplex to advance in the STV title tournament. Andre Baker not really lighting the world on fire, mate. I'm going to be more than happy to let you leave, I think. He's a good road agent, but other than that, not great. Rampage gets a big win, though he's through to the next round, as is Juventud Guerrera, who defeats Justin Starr with the 450. Currently leaving Chris Diamond. He's the only member of the Smashing Diamonds left in the tournament. Juve with a really good 51. Justin Starr with a not very good 31. And then Juve gets the mic and says, look, big win tonight over Justin Starr, and in a few weeks' time you can look forward to that beautiful new STV title being handed over to Juventud Guerrera. It deserved better commentary, but I think it's because it got a 68 and Juve's that good at promos. Up next, Chris Diamond does defeat Phil Powers by pinfall using the ropes for leverage this time, so Chris Diamond's just cheating his way through this tournament, but he gets the win. He is through to the next round. He has kept the Smashing Diamonds' hopes of gold alive. And it's a big win. Baldman versus Baldman, and Chris Diamond picks up a huge victory. And then going into our main event this evening, Christopher Daniels talks about his past with John Ryan. The two have gone to war in recent months, and it's only fitting that the next obstacle in Daniels' way is John Ryan. He tells him he'll beat him again, and then he knows that Juve would be up next, and that'll be the biggest match of Daniels' career so far. And the match gets a 43, which I think they usually get a 41 against each other, so we'll take a 43. But Daniels does get the win. He beats John Ryan with the Angel's Wings to advance, and Christopher Daniels gets through to the semi-finals of the STV title tournament with a big win over his bitter rival John Ryan. It gets a 46 overall, and I am going to come back again in a second for episode number 3. It's very weird to be blasting through these so quickly. And we are here for episode 3 of this block, episode 5 in total. As, well, you know, the farmer in the ring, and Doug says it's been nice to have a few weeks off. And he's so proud of the progress Rampage has made and tells him to get the job done tonight against that singing idiot, Chris Diamond. The firm will be at ringside tonight to make sure the Smashing Diamonds don't get involved. Good start to the show from the usual candidates, and the Dominator comes out alone as he speaks and says he's been unable to find the Gravedigger for the last 2 weeks. He hopes he's okay and that we'll see them together again soon, but he warns rigor mortis, stay out of our business. He gets a 55, and in the match he defeats Kenneth Wilhelm pretty easily with the pile driver. Wilhelm drops a 15 performance compared to the Dominator's 50. And that about sums that one up. 44 overall, big win for the Dominator. And then it goes into a post-match segment. The win for the Dominator, the lights dim, the smoke fills the arena, but there's no rigor mortis at the stage. He instead appears behind the Dominator and cracks him in the back of the skull with a mysterious object and stands tall over the big man with no Gravedigger in sight. The Dominator has fallen for the tricks of rigor mortis. And what is that going to mean going forward? You'll have to wait and find out, like the rest of us. And up next, a huge upset. Chris Diamond defeats Rampage Brown in 13-17 with the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness following interference from Justin Starr. Everyone was at ringside, but Justin Starr managed, basically they started off scrapping with each other and they ended up, battering each other. And Justin Starr manages to, hand a weapon or something to Diamond. Diamond hits Rampage. Diamond advances to the final. And he will take on, when the game loads, Juventud Guerrera, who defeats Christopher Daniels in a very close match actually. But in 15 minutes, Juventud gets the win over Christopher Daniels. 50 rated main event, which I'm pretty happy with. The show gets a 51, so it's a very strong show, and it will mean that in 2 minutes for you guys, but it will be Chris Diamond versus Juventud Guerrera for the STV Championship, and we're going to go book that right now. And here we go, we're in front of 217 people in Edinburgh for this block of tapings, and it starts with Juve cutting a promo. He says when he heard that there was going to be a Castle Pro TV show and also the creation of the STV title, he was overjoyed. A chance to finally hold some gold again here and to be the man going forward. He's 1 win away tonight, and if he can beat Chris Diamond, all his sacrifices, all the pain, the anguish of losing the national title will have been worth it. 65 rated promo to get us going. We then cut to Doug Williams. He's pissed off with how last week went, and he slams Rampage for losing to Diamond. Rampage says it won't happen again, but Doug reminds him and Nigel who they are and says go out there, kick someone's ass, get your respect back. 47 overall for that. Their match gets a 41 as they defeat Phil Powers and Kenneth Wilhelm pretty easily with the London Dungeon. And it was nice not to see Nigel be the worst guy in the match, but he was still pretty stinky in this one, has to be said. But the firm picked themselves up a win, non-title, because we're not putting the tag titles on the line for this match. And yeah, they're just getting their momentum back on the go. We then have Chris Charisma versus Kelt Kennedy because I needed an extra match, so I thought let's give these two guys a chance to see what they can do. They did whatever. Chris Charisma gets defeated by Kelt Kennedy. Who cares? Because we're all here for the main event. The main event is up next. It is for the brand new STV Championship, which is our TV title. It's Juventud Guerrera, the former national champion, versus Chris Diamond, the singer from the Smashing Diamonds. And in the match, the game had the suspense there. Chris Diamond defeats Juventud Guerrera with the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness after a distraction from Roughneck. Chris Diamond is your inaugural STV champion. And It gets a 44, which is fine. I like the little extra bit, I can't remember the word, but the little, like, you know, writs of Roughneck being the one to cost Hoover the title after, of course, they're passed together. And then we have wild celebrations as Chris Diamond is handed the brand new STV Championship as Justin Starr can barely hold back his joy. Roughneck is the man to hand over the belt as he deliberately walks over his old rival Hoovy to do so. Diamond thanks the band, the record label that he definitely does not have, and says that next week you're going to be witness to the biggest celebration you've ever seen. The show gets a 49. We have a new TV champion, and we've lost nearly 10 grand on that show. So let's have a look at the finances when we get out of here. We've gone up to 37 though, so we have gained 2 points of popularity, which is it's fine. It's a decent trade-off, I think. Which means we'll hopefully make more money in sponsors and more money in merchandise. If we can, like, because we did the Alliance thing for 1 month, we've basically just given ourselves a loan of a lot of money. Kind of cheeky, kind of cheap. I'm not a big fan of the fact that I've done it, but that will help sustain losses of a few thousand for quite a while and allow us to build our popularity up to start breaking even again. That's my hope anyway. We'll see how it obviously goes. I'm going to wrap the episode up after we've talked about these things as well, because we've done 6 episodes of Live in Edinburgh. It's quite a lot of shows. I don't know how long the episode actually is. It could be very long, so I apologise. But it's been a big experimental episode. We've got the TV deal. We've been figuring out the best way to do TV. I think that is the best way to do TV, is to do it all in a block. We could save a couple thousand if we turned down the live event experience to amateur again. But then we take the hit on the show rating. So I'm feeling like, because we've got all this money in the bank, we just take the extra few grand loss for the time being, at least. But I'm happy with how those tapings went. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that Chris Diamond is our inaugural champion as well. I was going to give it to Hoovy. I also debated giving it to Daniels, but I like this way we're going. Roughneck wants a new deal. I'll sort that out in just a second. I'm happy with that. So we're down 14 on the month, because I think the production's going to trickle away as the month goes on, maybe. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all goes. We spent a lot of money on everything here, but that's our spending done, like on workers and stuff for the month. Our next Live in Edinburgh is at the start of November, I believe. Yep. So I think next episode we'll do the 2 Live in Edinburgh blocks. So it'll be 8 episodes of TV, and then we'll do Christmas in the Gardens. Because what would that'd be 1, 2, 3, perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. We've also created a new show. We have Chaos in the Close. So Edinburgh, obviously, we have lots of places called closes, which are just little narrow side streets. Mary King's Close being like the big tourist attraction and things like that. A lot of them are on the Royal Mile. I just thought it's a fun little name. I don't like the fact that the CPW bit's black, but I don't really care enough to fix it. So that's going to be in February. As like a little extra show. Currently, we'll probably sprinkle in a few as we go. And yeah, that's going to do today's episode. Financially, we're looking very good because we cheesed it, but we're now looking not very good. But again, we've got so much money in the bank that I think we should be okay. Hopefully. And yes, as we can see, we'll go for a quick little run for our title champions as well. Doug Williams is our national champion. Our STV champion is Chris Diamond. And our tag team champions for the best part of a year so far have been Nigel McGuinness and Rampage Brown. We have all of the drama of Rigor Mortis and co. If we have a look at our major stars, we've got Doug Williams, Juventud Guerrera and the Dominator. No surprises there. That's not the right button. And if we have a look at our stars, Chris Diamond has moved up to star. He was only recognisable before, alongside Rampage Brown, well known, Christopher Daniels, John Ryan, Justin Starr, and the Gravedigger, who is very slowly getting there. I think it's his lack of star quality is the biggest issue with him. And then recognisable is kind of the rest of the guys. Roughneck, what's he on? 50? What does he want? 60? Screw whatever. I'm enjoying Roughneck again. He can stick around for another year. We can just delete these as well. But it's all going okay. Broadcast revenue, I hope $37 off that taping, so that's good so far. Perfect. Great TV contract this has been. And yeah, size 37. We've actually gained a point in Southern England recently, so that's nice. Midlands were up to 2, Wales up to 2, Ireland and Northern England up to 7. We'll probably look at running shows in Northern England and Ireland down the road. Probably, I feel like Ireland will be the one that we focus on, because if we have a look here, Ireland, like we've got like RTE, which is probably way too big. Actually, hang on, I need to be based in Ireland. That's annoying. Is there any other just Ireland broadcasters? It's RTE. No, not yet anyway. Okay, that's fine. We'll see what happens. I'm going to wrap up the episode here though. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you don't think it's too much of a cheese to what we did with the Alliance. I've taken us out of it because I just don't think it's right. I don't think it's good. I think it's better to just work our way through it. Next episode will be a big one. We'll have 8 episodes of TV. That will take a while to book, but it is what it is. Ticket sales obviously are going to be way down as well going forward. And if I look at the creative, no one yet. Dean Allmark, eventually you will be signed, my son, eventually. As I've said before multiple times on lots of videos, this is scheduled to come out on September 25th, this video. I am about to go on holiday in a few days' time, so I'm recording this very early in advance. So again, apologies, there will be no video changes to anything. So if you do say, look, you should have stayed in the Alliance, I'm not going to be able to rectify anything anyway because I'm blocked from the Alliance. But I am going to be very far ahead of the videos. So thanks so much for watching. Drop a like, subscribe, comment, all the usual fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in a few days' time for the next one. Thank you and goodbye.